Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over my first preliminary winter forecast. So this is the first episode of this series of winter forecast. I have had two winter discussions. One of them was yesterday. This is different though. This is what I actually handcraft and make these myself. The discussions are where I explain it, and then the next day, usually, or I'm going to start bringing out a winter storm forecast. So the discussion is really going into detail about this. So go check out yesterday's video if you want to go into detail. But if you just want to see the simplified, you can watch today's video. On these winter videos, I usually get a lot of new viewers. So welcome to my channel. If you are new, we just do weather here. As you can see from the title, consider subscribing if you do enjoy, and leave a like down below if you also do enjoy. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. Okay, so in the pink, I'm expecting way below average temperatures. That's going to be across a lot of Minnesota, eastern Iowa, northern Indiana, and northern Illinois and Indiana. As we move into parts of Michigan and Wisconsin, I'm expecting that. I just think the jet stream will be dipping down so low, we could get a lot of that polar air to come into a lot of those areas around there. As we move into the blue, I'm expecting below average temperatures. This is going to be across a lot of the mid-Atlantic, into parts of the eastern Dakotas, eastern Nebraska, Missouri, maybe in parts of the Ohio Valley, into parts of the Northeast. Now, as we move on to your lightest blue, I'm expecting slightly below average temperatures here. Okay, so right here you can see in the southeast, I do have right around here, I do have these slightly below average temperatures. So right here, especially here, we're going to be seeing a lot of warm temperatures, like usual, just pretty warm, like usual. But the thing is, whenever we get the jet stream to dip down, it'll most likely dip down like it did last year a lot of times, maybe even more this year. It'll dip down into the deep south. So this, where that dark blue line ends, that's where I'm expecting the jet stream to be this year, just because that's what a neutral pattern looks like. But a lot of times it'll come down into the southeast, and that's why I have the slightly below average temperatures, because you will get those to come down every once in a while and see your cooler temperatures. And when that happens, we see more snowstorms to come up the East Coast, especially right here. This is when we can see our key snowstorms right across the southeast. We'll have a really warm Gulf, and then we'll see right here we'll have cooler temperatures around the southeast. So that's where maybe we could get one snowstorm or two southern snowstorms this year. Really interesting. Okay, once again, slightly below average across the southeast, into parts of, once again, the western Dakotas now, in the parts of Nebraska, Kansas, eastern Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Minnesota, northeastern Wyoming. I'm expecting slightly below average temperatures. Also, as we move into Maine, we do have like a warm wedge near Greenland, and the real question right now is, will the warm air go so far west that Maine, you kind of get into a little, you're not as cold as usual. I'm expecting slightly below average temperatures still, but will that really cold air go too far south and be just short of Maine? We will have to see, but right now, even though I have these slightly below average temperatures, that is just to be a little safe until I know more about that. But right now, I just put in the slightly below average temperatures. But you gotta think, it's Maine. It's always cold and snowy during the winter. You're not really gonna see anything different, and you probably will see colder temperatures anyway. That's just how it is. Maybe colder than average. So don't expect anything too different in Maine this year, except for it being colder. Okay, as we move into the white, that is where I'm expecting equal chances, so one of everything, or maybe just normal. So this is where I really need to watch and see what's going to happen. But right now it's looking like this will be where you have kind of normal conditions, or maybe one of everything. I'll fill it in as we go throughout, the next few months, because we still have 4 months until winter. Okay, right here, as we move into your light yellow, that's going to be where I expect slightly below average temperatures. That's going to be across a lot of Arizona, a lot of New Mexico, northeastern Arizona, into Utah, northern Nevada, very northern parts of California, into Washington, southwestern Idaho, and southern Washington. Oh, I meant Oregon when I said Washington the first time. That was Oregon. Okay, now we're going to move on into the orange. That's where I expect above average temperatures. That's going to be in a lot of parts of California, central and southern California, central and southern Nevada, very far parts of southwestern Utah, also into parts of Arizona. I'm expecting to see above average temperatures. So really, if you're anywhere in here, generally, just expect above average temperatures this winter. That's just how it's looking like right now. But it could always change, but right now that's what it's looking like. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get into the precipitation. Okay, so here we go with the precipitation. In the green, that's where I expect above average temperatures. That's going to be across parts of North Carolina into parts of northern Alabama, northern Georgia, South Carolina, and up parts of the mid-Atlantic, like coast around here into parts of the northeast coast. I'm expecting above average temperatures in that darker green. The reason behind this, I do want to explain this. I just already explained it a little bit for the southeast. But once again, the Gulf is very warm right here. So a lot of times we will get a snowstorm to come up this way. It could bring a lot of rain to the southeast, so that's why we're there. If we don't have the cooler temperatures in place, it could bring a lot of rain to the southeast. But of course, if it's cooler temperatures, then we would see a snowstorm. But once we tap into the cold air around, let's say, I would say around here, maybe, I don't know. This is always a battle zone. Somewhere around here, usually. And we'd go up a lot across the mid-Atlantic and northeast. So somewhere in here is where we'll see a lot of our snow this year. Once we get those storms from the Gulf to come up, because we'll have a lot of moisture with them. So that's one case. And then we have the nor'easters that sometimes can come up the east coast, and we see those, which would bring a lot of rain to these darker green areas. So in these darker green areas, we can see a lot of rainstorms, snowstorms, anything. It just depends on the temperature. I do predict we will have multiple systems coming up from the Gulf and parts of the Atlantic Ocean. I do expect it to be pretty active across the east coast. As we move into your lighter green, that's your slightly above average. It's going to be across Florida, southern Georgia, southern Alabama, Mississippi, very western parts of Tennessee, into West Virginia, Pennsylvania, into parts of New York, parts of Massachusetts, into Vermont, Maine, and New Hampshire. Now, any slightly above average, it's not going to be too different from the above average. I just think in the above average we'll have a little bit more. But really, across a lot of if you're on the East Coast, just expect above average this whole winter. So that's what we're looking at right now with the above average. Now, as we move into the yellow, I do want to cover this right here. This is where I do think we may see drier conditions. So we are going to have to see what does happen here. That's why I do have a question mark next to drier here. I do not know. I'm giving this its own category. Even though it's yellow, it's different from the other yellow. I just really want to stress that it's leaning towards being a little drier, but there also is a chance of normal and maybe above average. But right now it's looking like it could be below average or normal. Now, any storms that we do get to come from Canada will be pretty big across of here because we'll have the cold temperatures in place. So whenever we do get these whenever we get these storms to come from Canada, they could be pretty big across a lot of the Great Lakes region. So I do expect we will see a lot of big snowstorms. But the question is, how frequent will we see them? Will we only see 2 or 3, or will we see 6 to 8? So that's that's the big question right now. Will we have enough air to make will the air be wet enough or stuff like that to have that? Okay. Let's go ahead and get into the next yellow. That is my slightly below average temperatures. Precipitation. Okay, slightly below average precipitation. That's going to be across parts of Arizona, parts of western New Mexico, southern California, Nevada, into parts of central Oregon, and parts of western Washington. So I just expect slightly below average precipitation just because most of the precipitation will be over here. So we won't be seeing much in the west just because our oceans are going to be cooler in a neutral pattern than usual. Now, across the east, they're going to be warmer. So we will expect more warm water, which would mean more storms that are worse. As we move into the orange in our final category, you can see that's where I do see below average temperatures. That's going to be across central and northern California into western Oregon. So this is where it'll be the most noticeable. I would even maybe move this down into here just because I do expect that. But I think right here in the orange will be our worst of all. But pretty much across any of these areas, just expect below average precipitation. Expect maybe a drought coming back over the next year. And we're already seeing a trend with some wildfires coming back, which is not a good sign, but that's what we are seeing. So I am going to scroll over these one more time. I'm not going to commentate them, if that's a word. I'm pretty sure, yeah, commentate. Just look at the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned this, but at the bottom is where I've been reading this off the whole time. So if you were looking at this, that's where you're supposed to be looking at, and that's just your categories. So I'll let you look at this for a little bit. Look it over. And now we will be looking at the precipitation for everyone. Just look it over real quick. And I hope y'all did enjoy today's video. So I will see you guys in the next video. If you did enjoy, once again, if you're a new viewer, consider subscribing. Or if you're returning or a new viewer, consider liking the video. So I hope y'all did enjoy today's video. We have a long ways to go. A lot of more of these. I just enjoy fall and winter. But yeah, guys, I hope y'all did enjoy this video. If you did, once again, consider leaving a like down below and subscribing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.